Good morning, and thank you for joining us for our SpeedSeal Technology, a new generation of roof attachments webinar today, brought to you by AEE Solar and SnapNrack. Before we begin, if you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please notify me by typing your question in the questions section of your control panel on the right-hand side of your screen and clicking send. I'll keep an eye out for those to come through, but as of right now, I don't see any. So we will have a Q&A session following the presentation. You are welcome to submit questions at any point during the webinar, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible during the presentation, but don't worry if we don't get to them, we'll have a little bit of time afterwards. If there are no questions, which again, looks like there's none so far, I'd like to introduce our presenter today. Ashlee Burns is the Senior Product Manager for SnapNrack, and leading today will be AEE Solar's very own Senior Manager of Product Management and Technical Sales, Josh Brister. So Josh, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Excellent, thank you, Erin. Good morning, everybody out there across the country. Hope you guys are having a great day. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in Northern California. Hopefully you guys can say the same. So yeah, I'm pleased to present our presenter today, SnapNrack's Ashlee Burns, Senior Product Marketing Manager, who Ashlee is not only a great individual and an excellent product manager, but also a fellow graduate of that fine institution of higher learning, Cal Poly. So Ashlee, with no further ado, welcome to our webinar, and let's see what you got in store for us today.
Awesome, thanks guys. Happy Friday. Let me see if I can get my presentation up on the screen here.
Yep, looks good from my end.
Okay, perfect. So I'm happy to walk you guys through our newest technology, SpeedSeal. So without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into what I'd like to talk to you all about today. If you haven't heard a little bit about SnapNrack, I just kind of want to give you a quick rundown about who we are, our mission, and what we're trying to achieve out of this webinar. And then most of the presentation obviously is going to be about our new SpeedSeal technology. We've got an RLA Universal product, which is a track, our Ultra Rail SpeedSeal foot, which is depicted there on the right. And then I want to talk to you in detail about the installation of these new parts. In more detail, the sealant application, the mounting locations, shingle compatibility, and then lastly, go into the details of how this product can be purchased through AEE. So without further ado, let's dive into it. A little bit about SnapNrack. I'm going to read our mission statement verbatim. It's really important to us. We're really trying to provide products and service that simplify the process of installing solar systems. We're trying to lower installation costs and maximize productivity and get profits for our customers with top-notch quality. So how we get there is we really rely on feedback from our customers. We get a lot of feedback and we try to turn that into like great product improvements. And that's kind of how we landed on our SpeedSeal technology, which we're going to review. We design our products to make the installation teams, to get the installation teams on the roof and off faster. We try to make them simpler and provide intuitive hardware with superior wire management solutions, which we're commonly known for. So that's a little bit about SnapNrack. So getting into, actually, Josh, do you have any one segue into?
Yeah, I just, as we were working through this and putting this together, Ashlee, you included this, and I love this slide for the story it tells, and also for the, for the question it frames up. So the story here is that the installed cost of solar has dropped precipitously over the past 8 years, and we've got data here through 2018. You see, though, that most of that decrease has come on the material side. Those gray, green, and red bars. There's been some not insignificant improvements on install cost and labor costs in that blue bar. Frustratingly, I guess for a hardware guy, the soft costs of solar installs have really not dropped much over the past 8 years, which feels like it puts even more pressure on the hardware folks like you and I, Ashlee, to keep coming up with better mousetraps to do things better, faster, cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Just piggybacking on kind of what Josh was alluding to, when defining ways to improve the installation process, we thought a lot about costs, as Josh already alluded to, and really some of the needle movers for SnapNrack are the blue, which are the installation costs, and then the green there, hardware costs. So as you can see, they're pretty fixed. They go down and they shrink a little bit, but we really feel like with the new SpeedSeal technology, we're going to continue the momentum to make the green and the blue go down. And I'm going to get into why here with some of the efficiencies with this new product. So that's kind of how we landed on some of the improvements here. We're just trying to think about ways to save the installer time on the roof and overall cost. Getting into SpeedSeal itself. It's a patent-pending lag-driven sealant technology. We've got some beautiful renderings up on the right over here of our SpeedSeal track on the top right, and then on the bottom, the SpeedSeal foot. As you can see, the lag itself is compressing into the cavity below the part, into that lag hole, and it's securing it to the rafter. The sealant itself is providing an active seal as you're driving it down, and a lot of sealants on the market are activated when they marry with liquid. So it's just creating that active watertight seal as you're driving the lag down and attaching the track or the foot. And then working through some of the qualifications of the products itself, we do have UL 2582 wind-driven test reports available, and both products are certified to that. And we also went and pursued the ASTM E2140 water column test. It's a very stringent laboratory test performed by Intertech. We do have that report available as well. Those are some of the certifications that these products have. And again, just to repeat, the lag-driven technology is patent pending. So, getting into some of the individual parts themselves. If you are familiar with SnapNrack, we have two primary systems, railless and railed. Our RLA Universal is the railless, and our rail is the ultra rail systems, which have ultra rail 40 and ultra rail 60 rail profiles. But getting into the SpeedSeal itself, the black rendering on the top right there is our SpeedSeal foot. It comes in silver and black for aesthetics. And as you see there, it's completely assembled with the ultra rail hardware, which you'll also see in some of our other portfolio items. Our products come fully assembled. So that's the SpeedSeal foot. Looking at the railless product on the bottom right there, you'll see that it's got that 7.5-inch track with the RLU mount. Those products do come together if you were looking to purchase them. It's kind of the beauty of it. Every time you need a track, you'll need a mount as well. But from there, the rest of the product on the railless remains the same. The links, the skirts, if you are familiar with that. Hopefully you attended one of those railless webinars in the past. Those are the parts themselves. So, again, just eliminating time on the roof is really what this product is all about, and eliminating the flashings, as you can see. Taking a step back at the existing technology, the traditional way to waterproof an attachment is with a metal flashing or mechanical flashing. And kind of some of the images down below are how you get that flashing in the comp shingle. It's rather invasive. It requires a few more tools than our new SpeedSeal product. So you won't need to do that any longer with this product. On the right here, we have just some imagery that depicts what components are involved with our flash umbrella RLA Universal product. So the flash track, that track on the right, the umbrella technology and the umbrella flashing, those three components drive 4 tools to install the product. You no longer need that pry bar to get in between the shingles and cause that disruption to the shingle with the new product. So just fast forward, looking at how that changes for you when you pivot to this new product. You no longer need the flashings. You no longer need to pry up nails. And something that I think a lot of people don't, I think they know, but don't go back and kind of plug those nails that secure the flashing shingles to the roof or the staples, however the roofer had roofed that particular rooftop. You won't have to worry about those things being exposed any longer. You could hopefully sleep better at night. It still is just lagging directly to the roof. And it gives you that pressurized sealant with the cavity depicted on the right here as you're driving the lag down and creating that watertight seal. Just kind of want to highlight again, you are consolidating the components that you will be bringing up on the roof, and you are bringing up one less tool. So that's kind of a big win in terms of inventory management for the installers and the warehouse crews, and then just tool management. There's already a lot of stuff up on the roofs that they have to manage. So just providing one less product tool for them to have to manage and one less part for them to have to worry about or forget. That's kind of a win with this solution here.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into some benefits here. Again, just really want to highlight that solar is a retrofit installation, and oftentimes we're encountering some roofs for the installers that are really severely weathered or damaged when we go and try to assess the site for the project that we're about to install. And by removing the step to have to pry shingles at every single location, you're really saving the customer's roof and really not disrupting it, especially on a lot of older roofs, or as you can see, there's a lot of brittle shingle out there that has a lot of UV on it, or just other maintenance that happen, just weather, and the environment's pretty harsh. And again, a big one is, I think that gets missed a lot, is prying out nails or staples, which is creating additional exposure up on the roof. Don't have to worry about that anymore.
I follow a couple different installer groups on social media, and I love seeing it's kind of twisted, but I love seeing the images when service crews go back to installations. They're take modules down to replace the roof, or just service calls. And unfortunately, one of the things you see way too often is just hacked and mutilated comp shingle from sloppy install or people in a hurry because it's Friday. What's pointed out here in that bottom left slide is pretty common, in my opinion, of shingle that just gets mutilated to try to find room for what used to be some really large 12 by 12 flashings.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So again, just really emphasizing and highlighting the benefits of SpeedSeal technology. We're able to maintain and sustain the integrity of the roof the way that we found it, or the way that the installer found it, I should say. So SpeedSeal technology, again, just highlighting zero destruction to the roof, keeps the roof the way the manufacturer intended it to be. And I've probably said this 3 times now, but you don't have to worry about nails and staples creating additional holes up on the roof, especially because on the bottom right, that image just, it really kind of, you're lifting up on the shingle and the guys won't catch every, or the guys and gals won't catch every single staple or nail up under that shingle. So you don't have to worry about disrupting that component. So I wanted to review a little bit about what we've heard directly from our customers about this solution. So getting into some feedback, it's been used in a lot of different places at this point since we introduced it, but we've had some users in Florida. This one is an awesome, a great kind of feedback for us because it's not only a testament to what I was talking about with some weathered roofs, but it also provides value on new roofs. Customer in Florida had a brand new roof with fragile shingles, fragile because they're brand new. And they had to pull off an entire crew due to excess damage when they were prying up the shingles on a brand new CertainTeed roof. They were just like tearing them up with their bar, and they ended up repairing about $1,600 of that roof. And I think they only got through about a third of their attachments on that particular job, and they decided that they weren't going to install on that roof anymore. And we're able to go back to them with this SpeedSeal solution, and they actually performed the installation. I'll go into that a little bit later and what success they had there. But another user in New Jersey deemed a roof just too riddled with, you know, some quality concerns, and they weren't going to do the installation at that point without rework to the roof, and were able to provide, again, SpeedSeal so that they could perform the installation without doing further damage to their customer's roof. Again, we've just had success in other locations, Denver, New York. What we hear is once uninstallable jobs are being turned installable with our SpeedSeal Track and SpeedSeal Foot. The image on the bottom there is our beautiful RLA Universal product with the SpeedSeal Track. And I'll go into some of the speed that was involved in this installation next. So obviously turning some no jobs into yeses on the last review, but a little bit about the product itself from the installer perspective and kind of the operational view. We really got some great feedback from some of our customers. A Florida branch manager was kind of highlighting that they measure their hours per kW so that they can plan out their pipeline, etc. And so they were saying the crews were able to install this in just 3.77 hours per kW with a water test, and they found 0 leaks on that roof after they performed that. So this was the reference to that Florida job, that brand new CertainTeed shingle roof. They had a great experience, able to turn that customer into a happy customer when it started off a little rocky with this product. Another subset of feedback here in New Jersey, which was the roof that I showed you prior with RLA Universal. Operations director was just kind of in awe. That they said, amazing product, a 16 kW job installed in 1.6 hours per kW. They had it planned for almost 4 hours per kW. I mean, they slashed that way more than in half. So they were able to pocket some time and probably allocate that to another job, frankly. And while we were getting that feedback, they actually came back to us and they said it was 1.3 hours per kW. So they're able to save themselves a lot of time up on the roof with this product by cut. And then same customer had another job, again, just kind of showing the savings and the hours per kW there. On a 10 kW job, it went in 1.57 hours per kW, excuse me. And they had it planned for almost 3 hours per kW. So huge labor savings. Again, as we alluded to when we were developing this product, we wanted to try to save time for the guys up on the roof. And they're able to do that with this new technology in the hardware.
Hey, Ashlee, I wanted to address, I guess, one of my own misconceptions, and that's, this install picture looks like a portrait installation, and I think I'm more familiar with a railless install being in landscape, but it looks like it's equally flexible for both orientations. Was I wrong on that?
No, RLA Universal is able to be installed in both orientations. It's also, you could do mixed orientation if you need to. As you can see in this imagery on the bottom left, you've got some obstructions in the way. It is optimized, if you will, for the landscape. However, it can go in both ways, and we also have a skirt that you can purchase if you have a portrait-oriented array. We have a portrait skirt that will cover 2 modules, and then we also have a landscape skirt that will cover 1 module in the landscape orientation. So we're trying to, make that easy for users.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So I guess, the only remaining concern with portrait would just be, make sure that your modules are certified for short side mounting, and that yeah, I guess, I'll, as always, be mindful of your wind and snow load ratings. That's great to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So now that you've heard about some of the successful installs and user feedback, we want to dive into a little bit of how the product installs. So going into the detail here, it's nothing too different than what your installers are used to up on the roof, but just kind of walking you through it. You're still going to have to locate your rafters. It's a rafter mount solution. We recommend that you pilot hole and fill it with sealant for a good seal. And then on the underside in the third picture over to the right here, we recommend that you fill, I'll go into the sealant application here in a moment, but fill the cavity with sealant and then lag the SpeedSeal attachment into place, which is that first image, or excuse me, that's a pilot. Lag it on the far right over here, lag it down to the roof, and then proceed with the installation as you normally would. Nothing has changed from the attachment up on the Ultra Rail system or the RLA Universal product.
Ashlee, if you don't mind, I wanted to make a comment, and that was, so it's a little hard to see on that third picture, but on both the SpeedSeal track and the SpeedSeal foot, there's a gap, if you will, in that O-ring. It's probably painfully obvious to everyone but me, but that gap should be facing down the roof, right?
Yeah, let me get into that in more detail, and I think some of the images on this next slide will kind of show you that. So let's talk about the sealant, and as Josh was alluding to, we actually intentionally oriented some of our sealing dams to provide a sealant vent on both of our products. So the foot here gives like a great example of what Josh was talking about here. We actually wanted to provide a visual indicator for the user to know that they have sealed the cavity enough. And so the sealant will actually exit or ooze out on the back side of the SpeedSeal foot or on the east or west side of the track. And so, as Josh alluded to, we have specifically oriented this dam for that purpose. Every part is assembled that way for that little visual indicator. So diving into a little bit of kind of our sealant application and recommendations, we have listed here ChemLink M1 as an approved sealant, but that's not the only one. We know there's a lot of different roof sealants on the market. It's just one that we have a very high level of confidence in. So that's the one that you'll see in a lot of the imagery here, and it's obviously the black one, but I think it comes in gray as well. But so in terms of the application itself, the guys have their sealant tube and their caulk and gun. We kind of scientifically, if you will, maybe recommend that they use 3/8 to a 1/2 inch of a bead. But getting into what's really going up on the roof, they're probably not going to measure 3/8 to a 1/2 of a bead. But kind of a quick way to describe how to fill that properly is fill until you don't see metal. That will really lead into a good seal because you're going to have proper distribution of sealant around the entire sealant cavity there. But just want to just quickly emphasize, like once you apply the sealant, we don't recommend that you kind of dab it with your sealant tube or your hand or any sort of tool. Just leave it as is so that when you're driving the lag down, it's providing that nice even pressurized seal. So again, just touching on some imagery here with the sealant relief or vent on either product. That's just kind of how you can anticipate that going in. Okay, so let's talk about how does this go in on the shingle itself. On the left, let's just go ahead and start with the foot. So the SpeedSeal foot was designed to mount on a single course of shingles, not across course shingles. And as you can see here in the image, it needs to sit nice and flush. And then on the right, we got a nice, beautiful row of SpeedSeal tracks. It's designed to mount across the shingle courses, and we kind of call out the thickness of the tab itself should be about 1/8 of an inch. It should be less than 1/8 of an inch, excuse me. But just kind of looking at this beautiful image of these tracks across this shingle course, that track provides a lot of flexibility in the event that you have some sort of wavy or uneven roof. So when you're putting your mount down, it provides that flexibility. Okay, so there are a lot of different types of shingles out there. And you might kind of get onto a roof and look at our part and ask what's compatible. So there's a lot that's compatible. There is one unique call out, I would say, specific to our product, and that's on the SpeedSeal track. We do not specifically recommend that it be used on presidential comp. It's got that really thick dimensioning with the tabs, and it's kind of a little difficult to use. However, it's perfect because we have our SpeedSeal foot that you can use on that comp shingle. And here I've just got some imagery that shows some really common roof shingles here. We've got up on the top left, the just standard dimensional shingle, top right, the rolled asphalt shingle works great. Both products work great on that. And then some more luxury style tab shingle tabs below here works great on all of that, but it's not limited to this list. I just want to be clear. There is a much broader range of shingles out there on the market. This is just an illustration of kind of the shingle compatibility. So if you were ever wondering about that. Going into how you can purchase this product, or if you're looking through our catalog, what SKUs are associated with these products. We've got a SpeedSeal location in our catalog, and any AE rep can help you locate those as well. But just going into the specifics here, we do have a sealing lag, which is depicted on the top right. It's got a rubber-backed washer. So the length is 4.5 inches, and it's stainless steel. Again, on the middle right over here, we do provide a black and a silver SpeedSeal foot. So you can purchase any of those. If you lean towards all black solutions, we've got black rail as well. And then on the silver foot, we've got silver rail as well. So you can provide those great aesthetics for your customer. SpeedSeal track. The image on the right is just as you will receive it. It comes with the RLU mount and the track, as I alluded to earlier. Everywhere where you will need a track, you will need an RLU mount. The lag will not come with that assembly. You'll have to purchase it separately.
And Ashlee, it's the same lag for both mounting types, right?
That's correct. Okay, so just wanted to give you guys a quick summary of kind of what you can expect once you procure those items from AEE, and kind of what you can plan to use for SpeedSeal installs. We estimate that it's approximately 1 minute per SpeedSeal attachment on either the foot or the track. Again, just as I highlighted in the last slide there, you'll need a lag, and you'll need either the SpeedSeal foot, black or silver, and then on the other system, if you're doing railless, you'll need the track with the mount, and then the lag. Again, kind of shortening the list of tools a little bit. You'll still need your hammer to find the rafters, hopefully, and then drilling a pilot hole. So bring your drill, impact, 1/2 inch socket, your sealant, and then chalk lines. So I wanted to get into, I alluded to a little bit about placement on shingles, but I wanted to just highlight and focus a little bit some of the questions, the common questions that come in around placement or layout of the parts themselves. So some of this might be a little bit repetitive, but I feel as though this is important to highlight because we do get a lot of questions on it. Again, just a reminder, this product is compatible with presidential comp. It may need a little bit of trimming if you fall near one of those really thick tabs or are really butting up against that tab. But for the most part, the footprint is pretty confined, so you should be able to find a gap. So just the image on the right here is a line drawing of some acceptable mounting locations for the SpeedSeal foot. And as I mentioned, it should only sit on one course of shingles. Now, sometimes people ask, can I mount on a vertical seam? Yes, you can within that course. So hopefully that kind of clarifies some very specific things that sometimes installers or customers have about layout. And moving on to the RLA Universal, very similar, a little bit different. Obviously the parts, geometry is a little bit different. It's a little longer. Again, just wanted to highlight this particular product is not specifically recommended to be used on presidential comp. But only on one course of shingles, this should be mounted across the shingle, but the sealing gasket itself should lie within that shingle. We've got all the way to the right here an incorrect mounting location of the SpeedSeal track on an overlapping course there. We also recommend, if you can, get about 1/4 of an inch overlap on the shingle itself. And as I mentioned before on the SpeedSeal foot, this can also be mounted over a vertical seam. So just highlighting the next step that we try to emphasize as well and get a lot of questions about is it's pretty basic principle, but drilling the pilot holes. After you got all your layout, chalk lines snapped horizontally, definitely recommend that you snap a vertical line as well to make sure you're hitting the rafter, even though sometimes they're not straight. But in the event you are encountering a missed pilot hole that falls more than 1/2 an inch of either side of the rafter, we do recommend that you flash that with a card flashing. So I alluded a little bit about the specifics of the sealant application itself, but attaching the SpeedSeal parts, fill it with, we have mentioned M1 a couple times in the presentation, or your sealant of choice. Fill the cavity until you don't see metal. Once you have it turned over, insert the lag, attach it to your pilot hole where you've outlined, use your impact gun, lag it down, and you can anticipate the sealant visual indicator popping out the bottom of this one in particular on the foot. And in the event that you don't see sealant, pull the part up, reapply the sealant, and follow the steps again, lag it down. So I'm kind of at the end of the line of reviewing SpeedSeal technology with you all, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. We've got just again some more imagery of some of the RL system, the RL Universal systems on the bottom left and the Ultra system on the top right. You know, if you've used our product before, we have great invisible end clamps, fantastic wire management products that keep wires out of sight. And the RL Universal, as I alluded to, front skirt hides everything on the bottom. So when you're looking from the floor up, it's great, great aesthetics, and it's pretty much one of the fastest installs, period. But that concludes the presentation that I have for you all today. You know, if you guys ever want to reach out with anything through our social media channels, we've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and on the top right, we've got our marketing manager, Jill Strange, and her contact information there. I'll turn it to Aaron and Josh if you guys have any questions. I think now's the time.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Ashlee. And I will just kind of jump into some of the questions that came into our questions box throughout the presentation. The first one is, what is ASTM?
ASTM is it's a certification that we chased after, in addition to UL, Wind Driven Rain 2582. And it's a lab test performed at Intertech, and the test itself is identifying, you know, does this product stand up to a column of water under a certain period of time. So in the event this product has standing water around the attachment, that is what it's trying to validate, opposed to the Wind Driven Rain, the 2582. That is more of a test to mimic the literally like a rainstorm or what have you. So those are the differences, and those are the different things that you're going to encounter on a real roof.
So Aaron, I'm a bit of a abbreviation junkie, so I had to look this up. American Society for Testing and Materials. So we don't see this very often in solar, but I guess this is the underwriting of the certification agency, similar to UL or IEC.
Oh, perfect. Thank
Great
you,
question.
Josh.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving on to our next one. What is the item number for M1 sealant?
Ooh, that's another good one. I had to look this up because I wanted to make sure that we carried, obviously we carried the black. That part number is 178-06009.
Perfect, thank you. Next question, one size socket for the complete, do you need one size socket for the complete install?
Yeah, I'll take that. That's correct. All of our socket, so all of our fasteners, that's the beauty of our product. It uses one tool to install all of our product from the bottom up.
Perfect, thank you. Got a couple more here. One of our attendees mentioned that he spoke with someone at SnapNrack, and they thought it would be okay to use the SpeedSeal on a modified bitumen low slope roof with an 8-degree pitch. Do you agree?
You know, I'd have to check the specific pitch that we call out in our collateral, and I can definitely have our apps engineer team follow back up with that customer. The specific roof type sounds like it's feasible, but the pitch of it, I would need to validate. So I can definitely get back to you all on that.
Perfect. And the same person asked and said that he was also recommended the ChemLink M1 only. How many tubes needed for 40 SpeedSeals?
You know, I have the conversion somewhere. I had it in a cheat sheet. I again will make sure that that content is in this presentation when we distribute it, so that people can plan appropriately for using the SpeedSeal technology. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
That's perfect. We can actually make sure to get you the information or the contact information for this person, and we can follow up afterwards.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I think that's it. In terms of questions, if anybody has any other questions, I think add them in now. But aside from that, it looks like we've kind of answered everything. So with that, after we close out here on the webinar, a short survey will pop up. And if you don't mind filling that out, we will send you a link to the video presentation. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and look forward to webinars that we have coming up. We'll be sure to send those out as we plan them. And if anybody else has any other questions or any closing comments, Jill or excuse me, Ashlee or Josh?
No, nothing from my end. Just want to say thank you again to Ashlee for not just this webinar, but your stewardship of the SnapNrack product line. A lot of great product here launched in the last couple months. So much appreciated.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, and appreciate it. Have a great weekend, all.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
guys.
Thank you, Ashlee, and thank you, Josh.
See you guys.